Daniel saw the title and he's like, oh, this is I Know What You Did Last Summer. I said, yes, but with a twist.
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Welcome to Treehouse of Horror
of Babylon,
episode 5, where we review I Know What You Diddily-Iddly-Did.
Last summer.
That's not part of the title. I was waiting to see if you see. My name is Ryan, and with me as always is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Diddly Ho, co-host Reno. And thank you to our Patreon-arinos, Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron. And stop on by Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can find them at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, or the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And you can say hello to the person who's probably the most real-life version of Flanders I've ever met, Ronald the Third, Krampus of Christmas, without all the, the Christian nonsense.
He doesn't have a mustache.
He doesn't have any hair. He's just like
including pubic hair?
Like Gumby. Yeah, no pubic hair.
Okay,
he's
cool.
just totally Gumby.
I like him.
All right. So this a little bit on why we did this one specifically. One, Daniel has been requesting a Flanders episode.
He's my favorite Simpsons character.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites. He's definitely top 10.
I keep wanting him to get a wife that lasts.
Yeah, same. And also, it was just announced recently that they're adding a new chapter to the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise, which...
What? Wait, what?
Yeah, that's what Beck told me. Hold on, let me verify this. Yeah, here it is, February 2023. I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel is in the works at Sony with Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. in talks to return.
Okay, wow.
So that's one of the reasons I picked this one.
Adding it to the Screamathon.
Yeah, and Beck brought this up to me because so our history with I Know What You Did Last Summer, I have a little bit of a weird one. I can't tell you for certain that I've ever sat through an entire one of those movies, but I know I've at least seen parts of 1 and 2 because I had a pretty big crush on Jennifer Love Hewitt as a kid. And we read the novel I Know What You Did Last Summer, and our Hef and I both did.
You lucky motherfuckers.
In our sophomore English class. That's my history.
I'm still so mad.
We also read Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, The Hound of the Baskervilles. It was not a bad year.
I had to read The Color Purple and Cold Sassy Tree and
I didn't read that one.
Jane fucking Eyre.
Didn't read that.
Ugh.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. And it was even like the movie cover version. It was so weird. What is your history with I Know What You Did Last Summer? And also, part 2, what do you like about Flanders?
For I Know What You Did Last Summer, it was part of what people often call the Scream revival of slashers. Slashers were sort of on their way out. They weren't making as much money as they used to. But then Scream came out, which is honestly kind of a meta parody of slashers. When you sit and watch it, it's making fun of slashers like a little bit, while also celebrating them.
Mm-hmm.
And it brought slashers back. And I Know What You Did Last Summer was one of those ones that came out, and it was like, oh, slashers are back in, baby. Mm-hmm. And so I was high on slashers at the time. I watched it probably whenever it came out on VHS, because I think I was too young to see them in theaters.
Yeah. How many of those are there? I
know that there was at least 3. In the third one, it is actually a fisherman ghost monster. That's the killer.
I Know What You Did Last Summer, 1997 American slasher film. There's the novel, which apparently was from 1973. I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah.
I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, 1998 slasher film.
I always know what you did last. Oh, I guess there was a TV series.
It's a 2006 horror film.
It's pretty bad.
Released straight to DVD. I Know What You Did Last Summer, the TV series from 2021. That's recent.
I'm gonna have to see that. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah. It's only 8 episodes long.
It's not bad.
If it's good, let me know, and maybe we'll do something on it. But yeah, okay, cool. So,
I mean, eventually we could cover the book.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
It can't be worse than River of Teeth. I mean, I've read it, but I haven't read it since I was 15, so yeah. I don't remember.
Can't be worse than Nothing But Black and Teeth.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
This episode originally aired October 31st, 1999. It was a part of Treehouse of Horror 10, which is overall is episode 230, but is actually season 11, episode 4. It's the first segment of Treehouse of Horror 10. The other 2 segments are Desperately Seeking Xena, which is a Marvel Comics parody guest starring Lucy Lawless, who was TV's Xena, where Bart and Lisa get superpowers from an X-ray machine that was checking candy for poison and razors.
Okay.
They become Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl, and they go up against the Collector, who is a comic book guy who's the evil Collector. And then the third segment is Life's a Glitch and Then You Die, which is the Simpsons Y2K episode, which is great. It's like it actually ends with Homer and Bart committing suicide because they are stuck on a rocket with Rosie O'Donnell, Tom Arnold, Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore.
Maybe Pauly Shore, yeah.
Buddy.
It's pretty funny.
I like Pauly Shore.
I do like Pauly Shore. Maybe not the rest of them. It was directed by Pete Michaels, who is a Simpsons vet, but is now currently working for both Family Guy and Rick and Morty, and was written by Donick Cary, who has written for other television shows such as Just Shoot Me, Complete Savages, and has been the head writer on Saturday Night Live, a little show you may have heard of.
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle, good enough for The Simpsons.
Mr. Sislak, I have a feeling there's going to be one more act to this story.
Well, I'm not hanging around for that. 4 acts.
Okay, so structure and themes. So what we normally do with these Treehouse of Horror episodes, when we get to structure and themes, we talk about it as an adaptation / parody of the source material. Of course, this is I Know What You Did Last Summer. Daniel saw the title and he's like, oh, this is I Know What You Did Last Summer. I said, yes, but with a twist. So talk to me about your general thoughts on it as a parody of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Perfectly acceptable. I mean, you condense what the scares of that movie are down to the most basic essentials. It's they kill a dude, but somebody knows what they did and is leaving them creepy notes.
I actually meant to make time to watch I Know What You Did Last Summer in preparation for this, and I couldn't between watching
We'll just turn our Screamathon into a Slasher-thon.
Sure.
The next time your family's out of town, I'll force you to watch all these movies you don't want to see.
Sure. All right.
But I'll bring over pizza and beer.
I will do anything for pizza and beer.
Yeah. Pretzel crust pizza.
What did you think of the twist that Flanders is a werewolf?
It was very fucking stupid, but in the best possible way.
I know.
That's the only way I know how to describe it. It's like, that's so dumb, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's like, I wonder what Flanders would look like as a werewolf.
I like him as a werewolf.
And actually, Flanders Werewolf is sort of become iconic. There is a Simpsons action figure, a Flanders Werewolf. I want to say there's a pop figure, but I'm not sure.
There's a pop figure of everything.
They did a Funko line of Treehouse of Horror specific characters, and I'm not sure if they've done Werewolf Flanders. If they haven't, they probably will at some point.
They should.
It's his second after Devil Flanders. It's his most like iconic Treehouse of Horror character.
I like the mustache.
Yeah, the mustache is super sweet.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Jumping to characters, just talking a little bit about Flanders. You actually didn't answer my previous question. So tell me, what do you like about Edward Flanders?
I'm not an overtly religious person, but he's like this overtly religious person who's just genuinely trying to be a good Christian in this world surrounded by these absurd cartoon characters.
Yeah.
I would call him the straight man, but he's not really. Mm-hmm. But he's kind of like this character that feels almost out of place when you compare him to all of his neighbors.
I love Ned.
Yeah.
And people who know me know I'm not religious. Like, I'm almost the farthest thing. Actually, no, because the farthest thing is an atheist, and I don't identify as an atheist, but that's not what we're here to talk about. I think what I like about Ned is, like, his positivity, and he can't be beat. He's had 2 wives taken from him, and he's still out there raising his 2 fucking sons.
And he's just, like, genuinely trying to be a good father or a good husband in this world that's absurdist. And I kind of... It's almost like the reason I like Superman. It's like, here's just this genuinely good dude surrounded by all this suck.
There's a couple, like... I mean, there's more than a couple. There's a lot of, like, really iconic, like, Flanders episodes. And there's one where it talks a lot about his parents and talks about his origins and why he is the way he is. And he's getting interviewed by Homer, and Homer is trying to break him. And Homer again eventually gets to the point, like, you fucking like everything. What isn't there something you don't like? What about mosquito bites? Don't you hate mosquito bites? And he goes, they sure are satisfying to scratch. And that line has been stuck in my head literally since I was like 10 years old. Because they are. Like, what feels better than scratching a mosquito bite? That feels good. He eventually does break him because it turns out that Flanders hates the post office.
That's not fair. Who likes the post office?
Nobody likes the post office.
And that's why we all get Prime shipping now.
Flanders was all I wanted to talk about under character. Obviously, everybody else is in this, but in these episodes, we really try and focus in on just like the core, like 1 or 2.
And everyone else is just themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll kill you all! I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all on every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
So scary shit for the Treehouse of Horror of Babylon. We don't talk about what was scary, what was not, because they're not scary. So what was the best joke? What was the worst joke? I have a guess as to what your going into this. I think this might be Daniel's favorite joke, but you didn't actually laugh at it too much, so maybe I'm wrong. But what was your favorite joke?
Whenever Bart said no one will believe Simpson killed a Flanders on accident.
Yeah, that is a good one. I thought you might really like Mo trying to creep on Maude.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But it did just something about the way Bart said that. I was like, that's just so true.
It's true. Yeah, it's definitely true. They would never believe it. Mine, it's a Marge line. Because this is exactly, if I ever like ran over something, it's exactly what I would say. Please be a dog. Please be a dog. Please be a dog.
Anything is better than hitting a child, as Pet Sematary has taught me.
Also, like my dad, when I was learning to drive, every time we went out to drive, he would say to me sternly, not yelling, but like almost yelling, if you hit a child, it will ruin your life. So I'm scared to death.
But what if you really hate kids?
I'm scared to death of running over not only a person, but specifically a kid. So, like, that is exactly what I would say in that situation. But there are a lot of good jokes in this one. But what maybe wasn't such a good joke to you?
I don't think any of the jokes in this were, like, particularly bad. Him being a werewolf, like I said, was stupid, but in the best possible way.
Yeah, no, it's entertaining.
It was absurdist.
It's also just, like, a funny, like, how do you end the, if you don't turn Flanders into a werewolf, how do you end it? You just have him kill Homer with the hook?
The hook, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because I even liked whenever Homer was like, okay, you go to the pet cemetery, you go to the abandoned roller rink, I'll go to the
pond where the skinny dipping teens died 100 years ago tonight.
I guess whenever, like, Flanders turned into a werewolf and Homer turned to look at his family and they were already running away. Because it's kind of an obvious gag, but it's not a bad gag.
No. Yeah, I might agree with that one. I don't think there's a bad joke, but that one is very obvious.
There's some, I would like say mid. It's a mid gag.
Yeah, and it's also something that they've done a lot with. It's a pretty common joke for them to get in a dangerous situation, Homer to have a delayed response, and the rest of the family to bail on.
Like, because they're smarter. They already know what to do.
Like, we're done.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Kiss me, fat boy. Mo is just waiting for Ned or Homer to die so he can creep on Maude or Marge. I'm sorry, Midge. He calls her Midge.
If Homer dies now, Marge is going to go with Flanders.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I ship that now
also,
because of you.
Mo is now married, canonically.
Mo's married?
Mo is married, canonically. They did, so, season 20, they did an episode where Mo dated a small person. Yes, that M word we don't say.
Oh, is that not politically correct?
It is not politically correct to say that word. For clarification, midget.
Oh.
Yes. And it actually, that was an Emmy award-winning episode. It's an amazing, beautiful episode. In the end, like, she ends up breaking up with him. It's super sad. It's like one of those, like, Jurassic Bark-esque, like, super sad comedy episodes. Season, like, 31, 32, they brought her back, and they got back together, and they got married. And it's like this huge win. Because Mo, like Ned, Mo Sislak and Ned Flanders are almost like two sides of the same coin, because they both continually get shit on by the world, but Ned handles it in the best way and Mo handles it in like the worst possible way.
It's Superman and Batman.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Kings and Koontz, what is your king? For I know what you Diddily-Iddly-Did. My king is Werewolf Flanders. I'm throwing it out.
Werewolf Flanders. I like the design. Again, I thought it was dumb, but in the best possible way. It takes me aback. It's memorable.
Yeah. I also, like, not my king, but I want to throw it out there because we haven't talked about it yet. I really thought it was funny, the fact that that Homer tried to throw Ned off the roof in front of Maude to fake his death.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And as a kid, my funniest moment by far was him throwing Ned in their front door and going, "Oh, I'm having a heart attack." As a kid.
I don't want an autopsy performed on me.
I laughed so hard at that as a kid. And then Koontz, I don't know.
Koontzes are, for these things, tend to be kind of tough.
Yeah, they're pretty hard.
Not enough Maude.
Yeah, not enough Maude. That's my Koontz too. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, ranking. This is episode 5 of Treehouse of Horror of Babylon, so we finally get to rank them. So I have these listed here just in the order that we've watched them. So what I thought we could do is just say we'll do it together. We'll just start at number 5 and say what our least favorite ones are and work our way up. And just as a review, the 5 Treehouse of Horror episodes that we have done are Not It, Death Tome, The Shinning, Bart Simpson's Dracula, and I Know What You Diddily-Iddly-Did.
I like how you had last summer typed there.
Yeah, because I legitimately thought that was the title, but it's not. I will go ahead and say I think my least favorite, and not that it's bad because it is entertaining, but I think my least favorite is I Know What You Diddily-Iddly-Did.
Mine is Bart Simpson's Dracula.
Okay. All right. And then for me, in 4th place, I think I will say Bart Simpson's Dracula.
Mine is I Know What You Diddily-Iddly-Did. They're just flipped.
Okay, cool. And number 3. This is where it gets a little harder, because for me, like, as a kid, The Shining was probably my favorite, but Death Tome and Not It are just both so great. It's hard to compare something that I'm seeing at age 34 and loving to something that I've watched my whole life and totally love.
Yeah.
It's hard.
The Shining's my number 3.
I'm going to put Not It as my number 3. And your number 2?
Is Not It.
And then your number 1 is Death Tome.
Yep.
Number 2, my number 2 is Death Tome, and my number 1 is The Shining, and that's a lot of that is nostalgia. Like,
nothing wrong with some nostalgia points.
And that, for me, The Shining was The Shining for the majority of my life. I knew nothing about the book, nothing about the movie, the miniseries, like the whole like chopping through the door and saying, "Here's John." I knew that from The Simpsons, not from the actual things. So.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's that. So more Treehouse of Horror of Babylon. There is a Blob episode.
I feel like we have to do that one. That's like part of Blobathon.
I have seen that one. It's fun. I think we should do it. That should be the Blobathon episode 4 / Treehouse of Horror Babylon episode whatever.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know this until I was going through every episode of Treehouse of Horror looking for Flanders episodes. I've seen all of The Simpsons except I think it's like seasons like 27, 28, and 29 I haven't seen all the way through. In those 3 seasons, and I didn't know this until I was researching, they did a Ring episode.
We have to do that now, too.
I haven't seen it.
We have to do it.
And so we'll watch it together with me have never seen it before. So, yes. So our next 2 things will be the Ring episode and the Blob episode. And as I was looking through it, they've done 2 Frankenstein parodies. So eventually at some point we might do those
I guess
as
we
well.
weren't doing the Simpsons episodes when we were doing that. But now I feel like if there's a parody, we're obligated to put it out as part of like the series.
And there's also Dial Z for Zombie is like their zombie like mashup episode where it just takes like zombie stuff from various zombie movies and stuff, and it has like a Pet Cemetery aspect to it, because the premise of it is that the cat dies and Bart and Lisa take it to the Pet Cemetery and try to resurrect it.
I know if we ever, on the plus side, if we ever get behind and we need to like put out some filler content.
These are so easy.
These are super easy.
They are super easy.
We could record a bunch of these and just have them ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we could you could just come over and we could spend like 3 hours and do like 4 of these. For homework, if you had to be killed by a monster version of Flanders, would it be Vampire Flanders, Werewolf Flanders, Zombie Flanders, or other, like what? How would you want to be killed by Monster Flanders?
How would I want to be killed?
Yeah.
Being eaten alive is one of my worst fears.
Me too, but I would want to be eaten alive by Zombie Flanders. That was terrible.
Vampire Flanders, so I could become a vampire.
Yeah, then you would get to be a part of his sex coven.
Yeah.
Yeah, I changed my answer. That's my answer.
I'd be like that diddly-iddly mustache.
Ooh, and then he could like revive Maud and Mrs. Krabappel, and they could be like in his sex coven, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, the 3 brides. It'd be
who's gonna be his 3rd bride?
You. Like it's Maud, Mrs. Krabappel, and you.
I have diddly-iddly loved.
That's perfect.
And I will share love again, just like the mosquito bites.
That's awesome. They're so satisfying to scratch.
I'm telling you, I think we could be Simpsons writers.
Boy.
Hire us, Simpsons.
Why not? I mean, you've been on for 34 years. You need more writers. So, question for the listeners. We put this out on our last Treehouse of Horror of Babylon episode, and nobody took us up on it, so we're going to do it again. Come at us on a comment and say what Treehouse of Horror episode you want, and that'll be the next one we cover.
We'll review it. I'll review any of them that are suggested.
You don't have to be a patron. You don't have to be a subscriber. Literally anybody. Come at us with a comment and pick one. As long as it's one we haven't done, we'll do it.
If it's one we have done, well, we'll just make fun of you.
We'll repost the episode.
Yeah, we'll link you to the episode.
And then for further reading, check out our previous episodes. If you haven't seen Not It and Death Tome and the Shin, these things are great. They're just super fun. So check those out.
Yeah.
Upcoming on the Horror Babylon, I don't know when I'm posting this episode. So we're doing Blob stuff. We're doing Ring stuff. Pet Cemetery's coming up. We haven't announced what's post Pet Cemetery, so I don't know when I'm posting this, so yeah, that's cool. So moving on, thank you to our patrons, Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron. And thank you to Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, or the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and say hello to the proprietor.
That's good.
Ronald III, Nedward Grampus of Christmas. And yeah, stay tuned for our socials.
And stay scary.
And thanks for watching The Simpsons with me.
I've actually come to look forward to this. So.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. I really enjoy it.
Anytime we actually watch things together, I have a great time.
Yes, for sure. And I cannot wait to watch the Ring one, which I've never seen. Watch it be terrible. Watch it be so
It'll
bad.
be our least favorite one.
Oh, this is such garbage. This
is an insult to Sadako.
Who's Sadako? Lisa? Maggie? Like, who is it?
They don't have... I'm assuming it's going to be based off of the American one.
Yeah,
so they're
probably
not going to use one of their Asian characters.
That would be bad.
Who are some long-haired characters? It's straight-haired Marge.
That's kind of hot.
Yeah. There's actually a fan art of her crawling out of the TV.
I've seen it, yeah. I think I posted it.
Yeah, straight-haired Marge.
Yeah. All right. We'll see.
That's
That'd
my
be
favorite
cool.
version of Marge.
I want to wait until after I've rewatched the Japanese movie and the American movie, then we'll do it.
Okay.
But I want to have those under my belt, because I've seen the American movie, but not since high school.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. All right, stay tuned for our socials. Stay scary. You guys are great.
You are wonderful. I love you.
Bye.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. Follow Daniel at DStarSick on Twitter. Follow Ryan at Darth Damio on the Bluebird app. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.